Hello and welcome to the Kidney Bean Podcast, Confessions of the Chronically Chill. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Samantha. Hello.
How are you doing, Sam?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm well. Of course, we have to mention that we are on all of the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Am I forgetting anything? And of course, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is probably where you're seeing this now, unless you're listening to us on Spotify, which we're also there. And of course, we are self-funded, so any contributions to Patreon is always welcome. And you said you had a story to tell, so.
Yeah, I do want to thank everybody, though, who has supported and continues to support us. I really, really appreciate it. We both really appreciate it. This has been wonderful. I am very grateful that I get to do this. It's therapeutic for me as well, so thanks, everybody. I just want to start out by talking about my rough go I've been having with dialysis lately.
When did this start?
Well, I mean, it's always kind of like we hit bumps and then it goes smooth and then, so there might be some stuff I haven't talked about just because I kind of forget, you just move past. So we have been having issues where I lose the blood in the circuit, is what it's called, where I can't rinse back my blood because of air alarms that I can't clear. And so usually the system is very user-friendly. There's my nurse on call I can call to walk me through everything. Next stage is always on call with IT to help you through anything. So the only problem is that when you stop the blood pump, you risk clotting within like a couple of minutes. So it's always like it needs to be fast. Now that's difficult to do when you're by yourself and when you're hooked up. So there's certain things like if I have to grab a big syringe to try to get the air out of the dialyzer and, without going into too much detail, I had 2.5 episodes, and I say 2.5 because one of them was I was halfway through rinse back. So I didn't get all of my blood back. And rinse back is where saline goes through the cartridge and the circuit is what we call it to give you your blood back. That's being cleaned, at the end of treatment. So I had one happen where I had to stop treatment early. I think I had gotten, 2.5 hours or something like that. And I had to just throw it all away. And when that happens, your hemoglobin can drop. And then you would have to...
Yeah, because you literally lose that blood, right? Okay.
Yeah, so it's like about the same amount as if you were donating blood.
Oh, okay.
But it's just, you don't
want to continuously lose that much.
Exactly. And, when you donate blood, you're supposed to space that out, I think, like a couple of months. So when I did it back to back, like a treatment that happened and then the next treatment, the same thing happened. I just draw a hemoglobin tube and I bring it in and they test it. And if it's super low, then I'll get a shot of Mircera. And then I'll be on a regimen of like every 2 weeks. It's like a protein shot. Because I know you're about to ask what Mircera is.
No, I was going to ask if it's the iron.
So I also have to give myself iron. But that is not always related to the hemoglobin. Sometimes my iron is just low. I mean, it's all connected. But I am in the middle of giving myself a 10-dose series of iron again. I feel like I'm doing it every couple of months. You're just living on
that iron constantly.
Yeah, so it's a little vial. It's a 5 milliliter vial that I, put into a syringe, and then my cartridges that I use are called medicine cartridges. It's a certain one. It's a C172 or 172C, and it has a little port on it where it's hooked up to the saline line, and you push through that. And there's different things you have to do to in order to do it. I wait till the last 10 or 15 minutes just in case something happens. Which last night when I was went to go push my iron, the air alarm started.
No.
So I was like, this better not happen again. But my nurse kept saying, you need to call the nurse on call as soon as it happens. Because I'm like, I've tried all the different ways that you're supposed to remove the air. The syringe thing never, ever, ever works for me. Everyone that does dialysis will know what I'm talking about. I've never successfully pulled air out of the dialyzer and given myself the blood back. But anyway, so...
Did you call the nurse?
I did. And Kathy, who is the nurse on call sometimes... she's the best. Like she calms me down because I'm freaking out, and I'm like, I'm gonna, and I'm like,
what's frustrating too?
Yeah, you don't really need to freak out. Like, why am I freaking out? My body just goes into complete, like, my heart rate, and I'm anxious, and you really don't need to. Like, if I could just remember to calm down and to just go through, and really, she didn't even tell me to do anything different. She was just like, just keep your arm straight and then mute and stop and then go. So really, I just like straightened my arm because when you're giving yourself iron, you have to bend your arm. I got to use 2 hands.
Right.
And
okay.
so I think it's something that I might have, I was thinking I could have Slim do it because he was there. But then I was like, he's not always there. So,
right.
And as independent and controlling as I want to be, I think I'm going to just keep doing it myself. But, I didn't have to do much. But anyway, so there were the couple of blood losses that I had. But in the one of them, when I had to stop, it was, this is crazy. So you're not supposed to keep your arm covered, like, or wherever your access is, and mine's in my left arm. And it wasn't covered. I think I do keep it covered sometimes, but this time it wasn't. And I'm always worried about venous needle dislodgement, and venous is the top needle where the blood is going back to you. So that's a big deal because, they say patients can bleed out. They're always, worried about venous needle dislodgement. So apparently the tape had gotten stuck to my blanket, and I mean like really, really stuck. Like it had come up. I had used a lot of tape. Like I have it secured. But Slim called me, and I just, for some reason at the same moment, grabbed my blanket like this. The needle came right out with it.
Oh, no.
And it wasn't instant, like, blood everywhere. It was a little bit. It was like maybe like a couple of seconds where I'm looking at it, and it was surreal. I was like, I just dropped the phone, and he's like, hello, hello. I'm like, I have an issue. And I'm like, and I'm stopping the machine, and he's like, okay, bye. So then after all that, it starts spraying everywhere.
Oh, no.
And I'm like,
gosh.
oh shit. So I stopped.
So it looked like a horror movie.
It wasn't as bad as you would think because it stayed kind of...
It didn't go all over the walls.
And the blood pump was... Then I slowed it down, but I think
Okay.
I should have stopped it completely, but then you risk clotting, But I slowed it... I probably should have slowed it down like really, really low to like 100. And then what I did was I was trying to reinsert the needle like in a different spot.
Yeah.
But I guess because the blood pump was running at all, it just instantly, I had like a little infiltration. And I was like, I always brag about how I don't infiltrate myself and stuff. And so it was like, even if I was going in a spot that was fine, it just instantly blew up. And I'm like, stop, because like that pain, we all know that pain. I've talked about it before. But anyway, so I've got the black and blue and everything. And had
right
to do
now?
that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's not going to go away for a while. It's broken up a lot. Like it's more reddish purple now, but it was completely dark, and it hurt for about a day, and then now I don't even feel it, but it looks like it's painful. So I had to do the ice and heat, rotate the ice and heat for 24 hours and all that.
Oh, we were talking to Anya yesterday about how you go from hot to cold, and it's supposed to be really good for your muscles.
Oh,
like how athletes will...
the ice bath?
Well, right after they're like in a sauna.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh gosh.
And the whole cryogenics thing, I've been like looking at that. Like
that seems like the worst thing ever. Like I don't think that would be fun.
It'll wake you up. Because I have one of my friends from high school used to tell me, and I've done this too, where you, I think it's like you start out at like a normal temperature in the shower, and then you get it like as hot as you can stand it. And then by the end, you're down to as cold as you can stand it. And
I don't like cold showers though. Like even I hate when like you go to a hotel and they're out of hot water and then you have to take a cold shower.
I like it if I'm hot. Like
no,
if it's like a
even
hot
if I'm
summer
hot.
day.
Like you know how hot I get, and I'm still like, give me a hot shower. Like after the pool, I take a hot shower.
Oh yeah. See, it just depends. Well, after the pool, I get cold a lot of times when you go in the AC.
That's true. Yeah, because you're like freezing.
Yeah.
Pool opens this weekend.
Yeah, ours is open. We didn't even know. They don't even have umbrellas at our pool though. Like.
Really?
How is anybody supposed to
sit
out there? Well, they were all broken. They were all busted.
And they just didn't replace them.
Yeah, in our upscale apartment home. That's a whole. I could have a whole podcast about the apartments. I could have a whole podcast.
You and me about the HOA too.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we should do something like that because I mean, seriously, and let's not get on my neighbors. But anyway.
No, oh gosh, let's.
You
not,
don't want me to do that?
Let's not.
But we have a bean post.
Ooh, bean post.
So, I'll wrap that up. That was my whole, I'm having a hard time with dialysis, but I'm glad that I get to do it at home. And, it's kind of like, I don't want everyone to think like, yay, I'm at home. It's so great. It's so perfect. It's still dialysis, but the pros still outweigh the cons for me for being in center
For sure,
versus
you're in your own space.
Home. Yeah. So the bean post,
Yay. Yay.
is, it's a twofer. So we've got Lenny and Julia Harlos, and they are from, I was going to mess this up, so I was trying so hard, Powhatan, New Jersey. They probably say it totally different.
You probably just could have said New Jersey.
They're from New Jersey. We all know where that is. So Julia donated, I guess it's called on a voucher, for a living donor kidney donation chain for her husband, which means that she donated to somebody who she's a match for because she was not a match for her husband.
Right.
And her husband is Lenny. He got his kidney on, I believe it was May 19th, he said. Mm-hmm. And so...
Wow, so like really not long ago.
Yes, and I feel so bad because I didn't even realize he wasn't even out of the hospital till yesterday, and I'm like bombarding him with this. So shout out to Julia and Lenny.
Congratulations, for sure.
It's so awesome. Like, what a selfless thing to do. And, you know, when I said that to her, she's like, oh, I would do it all over again, even though she had complications, and she said she nearly died. I don't know the specifics of that. I don't know the specifics, but I do want to have them on as guests in the future, and I have said that to them, so we will get their story eventually. But I mean, what
for
is
sure? The donor almost died.
Yes, and she said she would 100% do it all over again. Yeah. And so that's love. And they have children, and so imagine the difficulty of her going through that surgery, and then 2 months later him going through his. And so I mean, that's a
so
team.
when you do that, you give your kidney right away, but it might take a while to find a match for you, or how does that work?
Yeah, I was wondering about that, and I don't know if it also can happen vice versa. Like like maybe they found a match for you quicker than they thought they. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, do they already have people lined up? Or
yeah, so it's a donation chain that people are already like involved in different hospitals, and I don't think every hospital participates in it. UNC does one.
I was going to say, probably UNC
one.
does.
And that's what they mean when they say like you don't have to match blood type, because some people probably won't want to do it because you're not technically donating to that person, but you are donating so that person can receive.
Right. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I mean, once you donate it, you donate it.
Right.
So then whoever receives it, you know that you're basically donating it to the person that you want to donate it to.
Yeah, so then your loved one or whoever.
No, I think that's a great thing. That's awesome.
People have done it for strangers too, because there's selfless people out there. Yes. And it's really nice to hear stories like that, so that you know that not everybody is selfish, because it's, you notice all that all the time, the selfishness of people, but I try to make sure that I'm also seeing that people, I mean, that is like to give that to someone else so that your husband can have one. And I don't want to forget what they were trying to tell us too, because they had a couple words. So Lenny says, I love my wife and family, and, they're everything to me. And then he also repeated what Julia had said, that my wife said she would do it again, as it's worth it. And he says he's doing great. So I just think that's a beautiful story. And shout out to you guys.
Congratulations, Lenny, and shout out to
Julia. Yeah, we'll have them on eventually. So
yes, awesome, great. That's a great story. I like that story.
I like that story. It's just so many beautiful stories in this dialysis kidney community.
Well, speaking of the kidney community, we have a guest today, and
a couple of guests.
Yes, we have a couple.
Another twofer.
Yeah, another twofer. I don't know why I just referred to them as one. I don't know. One couple.
Yeah, they're like a unit.
They come together. They're like our last guests. They're always kind of together.
Yeah, they're another great team.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna have.
But it's pretty cool because he had started up. Is he the one that actually started the?
He
page?
is. He's the owner creator.
if you're on Facebook, there's a page called Living. Which I guess if you go living, because it's living exclamation point on dialysis. Mm-hmm. But it's a great page. It's probably my favorite dialysis page.
Oh my gosh, yeah! I almost want to just like not unfollow, but like kind of mute the other ones. Like I don't need to see all the other stuff on the other ones anymore. Yeah, because
you're on quite a few. I'm only on a couple.
Yeah, I'm on I think like 6, and 2 of them I would say I'm really into. And living on dialysis is one of them. The crazy part about it is that he just started that like 6 months ago. I could be wrong, but and I'm an admin for him, which I appreciate him, trusting me to do that. So there's a few admins because he couldn't.
No, there's no way. It just blew up.
Yeah, one person couldn't do it, and every single day there's 5 or 6 people asking to join.
That's awesome, because I know like when I started following, it's just like it's increasing exponentially. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Like I don't know how many followers it has now, but I know it's like over 3,000.
Yeah, he probably knows. We can ask him, but
because I hadn't checked today. Probably should have checked that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's amazing how I'm like, where is he getting all these people?
Yeah, and it's so interactive. It's awesome resource, and I think it's a lot of support because people get on there and they're like, does anyone else experience this? And then you'll see in the comments, oh yeah, me. Or I've been through this. And
we've kind of like, it's, I don't want to say like no nonsense, but kind of, because there's other pages, other groups or whatever on Facebook that just anybody posts whatever, and it's like exhausting where you have to kind of filter through. And
now things that get posted on this have to be approved by the admin?
Yes.
Okay. I kind of like that because then you don't get like multiple posts of kind of the same thing.
Yeah. And he's like real time kind of, working through everything. Like he'll be like, hey guys, what do you think I should do with this? Or what should we do? What should be the protocol? And I like that because he's kind of getting everybody's opinion. Well, the admins, there's, I don't know, maybe like 10 of us, but he's, should we have one spot dedicated for people who want to sell stuff? Should we have, and we don't let people come on there who are like, wanting to do a GoFundMe page for their kidney transplant, because it's like we all need that. Like, there's other places for that.
Right.
And so, you might...
Well, I think the GoFundMe is more for your friends and family, so more like your personal...
Well, I just kind of relate it as like, it's a little bit redundant for me to go into a kidney dialysis group, community, whatever, and say, hey guys, can you guys help me out with my kidney donation journey or whatever, because we're all in the same boat.
Yeah,
we all need help, or we all could use it, or would like it, not necessarily need it, but so not to be mean or anything, but there are other places to do that, and you could create your own I need a kidney page, which a lot of people do, and that's
can get all their friends
also
and family.
An option, right? Yeah, but yeah, I mean, this group has just been amazing because not only does it have good information from people who are going through it, and he always says ask your doctor first and things like that. I think we also try to keep people on that same page of like, be smart enough to like know that just because someone said that this worked for them doesn't mean that it's going to work for you.
Right. But I think as long as people realize, it's like what we do here. We're not doctors. We're just sharing your experiences.
Yeah, it's exactly
like,
what.
And most people preface it with, has anyone else experienced this? And I mean, how do you know? There's probably times where they go to their doctor and they said, I talked to someone else that experienced this, and they said this helped them, and then maybe it is something that they hadn't thought about before, or maybe they're like, stay off the internet.
That's exactly what doctors want to say, and they can't stand if somebody questions anything or knows anything more than they do. But we are going to question things, and we are going to know things more than they do because they aren't doing it, and they have their patients, but they also need to stay abreast of everything, and it's a lot. It's always changing, and there's always new things, and it's a lot. So I don't expect a doctor to know everything, but hear me out, right. At least give me a chance to be my own individual with my own individual treatment. And my doctor usually does. I mean, I kind of try not to bother him with a lot of stuff because I just feel like I always think I'm annoying everybody. So.
You are so annoying.
So if it's not, something that I really, really need to go over with him, then, I just kind of...
But I wonder why we feel like that, though, because I kind of feel like that sometimes, too. Like, and then I have to remind myself, it's okay, I'm a person, I deserve to take up space. And
it's the Catholic guilt.
Is it the Catholic guilt?
I really think it might be.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, when you're 8 years old and you're going to confession, I'm not trying to get into religion here.
No.
But we went to a Catholic school, and
we
had to have confession. Do you know I would make things up because I thought you had to say something? So then
I'm
lying.
It was a little weird.
Then I'm lying. Like confession in school every Wednesday after church.
I remember.
And then at church, we'd have to do confession. And when you're in the little booth with the
Father,
Sunday forgive me for I have sinned. And it's like, I'm 8. Like, what did I do?
I mean, the only reason so Sean and I talked about it because, he was interested in it because we're watching this show called Evil.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good. But, the priest is like, they work technically, I guess, for the Catholic Church, but they go and see if these things are real or not, like possessions and stuff. But there's also like a skeptic, and then she's like a psychologist, but like a forensic psychologist or something. I can't remember. But they kind of work for the church to do all this. But they showed Confession. I was like, oh, I remembered having to do that. He's like, really? You have to go in a booth like that? And I was like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like literally
with your
like
rosaries,
that.
and he'd be like, do 25 Hail
exactly,
Marys.
exactly.
And
I don't know if you would like the show because you don't like kind of supernatural stuff.
Oh, so it's okay. Yeah, no.
Well, I mean,
I thought it was like a documentary type.
No,
like
it's like a show.
Okay, no, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I still
like
haven't got. I tried to start Ozark, and I couldn't get.
Oh, I watched one show.
through.
I couldn't. I don't know why.
Like, I liked it, and I want to keep it going, but every time I'm like, maybe I should watch something. That's not what.
Do you know what someone put on? Someone put as a comment, "This is the most boring, interesting show
I saw
I've
that,
ever
yeah,
seen."
and I totally get that.
And I was like, yeah, I get that, and I love Jason Bateman, so
yeah.
that's
and
right.
Laura Linney, is that her name?
They
just don't look like a matching couple. They look off. I don't know.
You don't think they look matching?
No, not at all. Like, she seems a lot older than him, even though they probably are the same age. I don't know. But anyway, what else are you watching?
What else am I watching?
I know you're always
just
watching
the usual.
Yeah.
No,
The
I
Office
don't,
and South Park.
Well, yeah, The Office and South Park, and of course Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and yeah, Andy Samberg is in that.
Oh, I like him, but I don't.
Yeah, and Terry Crews. I love Terry Crews.
Yeah.
Terry Crews is like my favorite person in the world. I would love to hang out with him. Like, he seems like he would be so fun to hang out with.
Yeah.
He seems like a really cool person. He paints and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But other than that, Stranger Things just came out, so I'll be watching season 4 of that.
Cool.
Which I know you're like, whatever.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who
care.
like
What
it.
are you watching? Are you watching anything?
No. I watch Pajama Pants podcast when they put it on Tuesdays, so that's just one thing a week. But when I'm doing dialysis, I'm playing Ludo King most of the time.
What's
I'm
Ludo
addicted.
King?
It's the only game I ever play ever, and I'm addicted to it. So it's almost like I don't know what to explain. Like, you can kind of compare it to maybe Chinese checkers or Parcheesi or something, because it looks like that. Or Sorry.
I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check it out.
But the app on here, like, we have the board at home and we play sometimes like actual, you know. But a lot of people in Gambia play it. So when I go on there, there's very rarely anybody from the U.S. I put my country as Gambia on there because there's a lot of West African people and there's a lot of Indian people who play it.
Well, Anya has. I was getting something out of the trunk of my car, and there was a Mad Libs book back there.
Oh, I love Mad
And I don't know why, but she always calls it Mad Libs. Did you get this Mad Libs book for me? I said no, it was just in there, and so she grabbed it out, and we've been doing that a lot. And then her and Emma played chess the other day.
Oh yeah, I think that's so great that they play chess.
And then Emma played chess against Sean, and I was trying to help Emma, but I was trying to not help her because I was like, "Are you sure?
Yeah,
you know, like, are you sure you want to do that?"
Yeah.
But anyway,
that's awesome.
So I think we could maybe start talking about our guests.
Yeah. Well, we did already.
Oh, we did talk about our guests.
Yeah.
I'm just super excited. Like, look, I actually have all these questions.
I know. I'm excited to talk to them too. They're awesome. Another celebrity couple from dialysis.
I know. We're all stars. I mean,
I
Dawn and I mean, it's like everybody's like wanting to be on our podcast. It's pretty awesome.
We need them to get us out there. So.
Yeah, we do need them, but it's so interesting to like see what they're doing and then like be able to talk to them in person. Well, not in person, at least virtually. Well, anyway,
we get to see their faces.
Welcome to the show. Michael and Christina Gilchrist. Welcome. How are you guys doing today?
Hey guys.
Good.
Excellent.
Thank you for coming on.
Yes.
All pleasure.
You.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Of course.
Yeah, we know you're super busy. So.
Are you camping now? Samantha said you were camping.
No, we just went up last night and got stuff set up. We decided not to stay the night.
Oh, okay.
We
Well,
weren't really totally set up, but we took the ATVs up and everything. So
Yeah.
so are you live close to where you were camping?
yeah, it's
Oh,
probably
okay.
about half an hour away.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
if it's anything
It's
like
close enough. It's close enough I can get her to the hospital if needed. But
Yeah.
far enough away, we're still camping.
awesome.
Yeah, smart.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah, you're always like one step ahead of, or 10 steps ahead of everything. So that's
He
awesome.
is, not me.
No, well, you guys are a team. You're a team, and I think it's great, and that's why we wanted to have you on to talk a little bit about just, you know, you don't have to get too into the routine or anything, but just your actual, you know, teamwork dynamic and that sort of thing. Like, who's who in your team?
Okay. Do you want her backstory a little bit?
Yeah,
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So, I got diagnosed when I was 12 years old with a strain of nephritis, and it was very, very mild. So my doctor said I probably wouldn't have to worry about it until I was old and retiring and everything. But I got pregnant when I was 22, and immediately kind of things were off. I was gaining a lot of weight and I couldn't keep anything down. So I lived on popsicles. And yeah, I would literally take to work for lunch a box of orange sickle popsicles, and that was my lunch.
That's all you could keep down.
Bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I had 1 month where I gained 50 pounds while I was pregnant. And so I went and met with my doctor. My doctor said I was fine. But I ended up, I had toxemia, which is now preeclampsia. And I went into seizures. And so, yeah, so I had seizures and I bit off my tongue. And yeah, it was bad. And then I lost my eyesight. And my kidney disease got just ramped up. And so I lost my kidneys too. And so all that happened when I was 22.
When you were 22.
That seems to be the age for some reason.
That's when Samantha was diagnosed when she was 22.
Yeah, our first guest, the same thing.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
We're twins.
Yvonne McCormick, friend of the show. We love her. Hey, Yvonne.
Yeah, but you kind of knew that you had issues, and for them to say like, "Oh, you'll be fine," I wonder why they didn't think like pregnancy, stuff like that. So that's kind of frustrating.
It was actually a specialist that I got sent to, so he could keep an extra eye on everything because of my kidney issues. But he was just too busy, and he just kind of wasn't paying close enough attention. So
not to ask your age or anything, but 22 was how long ago for you?
almost 18 years.
You just had a 40th birthday a couple months ago, right, Christina?
Oh, yes. I just turned 40 myself.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
40 fun, right?
It's awesome. I swear, like the day I turned 40, I was zooming in on things, like trying to read something. I said, why is it so small? And it's like instantaneous, it kicked in. So,
So true.
But how long have you guys been together?
Go ahead.
We've been together for about 5 years total. And we've been married for just over 2.
Oh, wow.
We actually got married on leap year of 2020.
So you don't have another one until 2024.
Yeah, so no gifts until 2024.
Yeah, right, Michael. Yeah, he gets her gifts all the time.
Yeah, I have to say, I love how much, like, you're just so into her. It's so awesome. Like, every day we see posts about how awesome Christina is.
Yeah, well,
I was like, that's so adorable. You look fabulous, by the way, Christina.
Always.
And I saw footage. I saw footage of you trying to train a dog.
Stop! I was going there too. That was my next thing.
I have it
I was going to say,
down.
"Where's Moose?"
Oh, so you know the name is Moose.
Yeah.
So how is that going? Because I saw a little footage.
He's phenomenal.
I saw a little footage where you were trying to get him to go and he was like not having it. I was like, I could relate to that.
Yeah, he's definitely, sometimes he wants to listen, sometimes he doesn't. But our trainer, he just got trained by, it's actually a lady, her name's Lindsay Ellis, and she's with Speaking Canine.
Cool.
And we did a 28-day board and train, and he is amazing.
So now he's trained.
Yeah.
He's completely
And
trained.
now he listens all the time, and he is just insanely good now.
That's so cool.
With her blindness, she has no central vision, so she can't see depth, and the dog alerts her when there's steps or there's a change in elevation. It's a learning process. So
you're not falling down all over.
Yeah. So in areas that she knows, she hasn't memorized, and she used to have seeing eye kids, but they're getting old and moving out. So
that's so awesome.
We had to get a dog.
Yeah, and he's a Pomsky, right?
A Pomskeen.
Pomsky.
No, wait, what did I say?
Pomskeen, I don't know what that is. Pomsky, so that's a Pomeranian Husky mix, correct?
Oh, yes. Wow.
So he's like a small Husky.
He's so gorgeous. Yeah. He's so pretty.
He's actually full grown right now. He's 22 pounds. And
that's the biggest he's going to get. That's awesome. That's the biggest he's going to get. 22 pounds.
Yeah.
That's an awesome size.
Incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And we watched a video where you were talking about working out after dialysis.
Ooh.
Dang it. I'm sorry, Samantha.
No. I'm saying I couldn't do it. I wasn't.
I thought I beat you to another question. Because we don't talk before our podcast, so like sometimes we'll write down questions and we'll have the same questions.
Okay.
So we have a little bit where she's had 2 transplants. Mm-hmm. She's had a living donor, a cadaveric one. Her brother donated the first kidney for disease, rejected it. She was back on dialysis for
5 years.
5 years. Then she got a cadaveric one, and that's when I came in the picture.
Oh,
and
okay.
she started rejecting right after she met me.
Yeah.
So we quickly became clinic buddies. You know, I'd go to clinics with her, and that's, you know, it sounds dumb, but that was our bonding time.
No, that doesn't sound dumb at all.
About our day, and they were pumping so many chemicals into her and stuff, and it was finally time to say, what is all this stuff doing to me in the long term, opposed to trying to save it. And then that's when we started PD.
Yeah.
So she did PD for 3 years, and then started to reject. That wasn't, the adequacy wasn't doing too great on that.
Oh.
And then that's when we started doing home hemo, and she actually does home hemo on a central port, and which is not very common. And in fact, the clinic, when they first asked the doctor if she could do home hemo, they told her no.
Oh.
And so I kind of went behind her back and went and talked to the team and the doctors, and like, come on, this is Christina. She knows more about dialysis than we do. And once they correlated that it was Christina and stuff like that, it was hands down, yeah, let's do it.
And how long have you been doing home hemo?
At the very beginning of the process, like when she was in center doing PD or before PD, they told her there's no way you can do this because you're blind, which it should never be said.
No,
it's not. You can't do this. Let's find a way how to do this. So,
yep. And like after my second rejection, that was kind of a come to Jesus point of, okay, dialysis might be forever for me, and so I have to make dialysis fit into my life, not my life fit dialysis.
Exactly.
And so at that point, that's when I started looking at home options and looking at having more say in my care and saying, okay, no, I don't want this. I'll go get another doctor who will do it the way I want. And that's when everything that's when living on dialysis came up. And we just decided that camping's going to happen, vacations are going to happen, and all these things are going to happen, and we will make dialysis work to fit it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Now, when you travel, how do you travel with that?
So with PD, it was super easy because you would just take your supplies and your machine. If you were going someplace far and flying, you just let your doctor know, and they actually will ship your supplies to your hotel. So you would get to the hotel, and it's already in the room, which is just amazing. And so you just bring your machine. And I'm actually going to Vegas on Tuesday. And
oh, wow.
all my supplies will be shipped there, and all I have to do is bring my machine.
Home hemo is a little bit more difficult. It's a heavy machine, but it's basically the same process. And she's bubbly and happy all the time, so she just thinks it magically shows up. I do lots of calling. I have OCD. I make sure that I call every single place, and they actually get almost upset because I'm like, you sure you got it?
But you have to be that way because
you don't want to get there and not have what you need.
Yeah, so, you hear horror stories all the time, like they didn't send my stuff on time and everything, or I didn't get it.
Right, and that's the key thing is, and like when we started the Living on Dialysis page, basically you can do absolutely anything you want. It might just take a little more planning.
Right.
So she wants to go to Vegas and she wants to make it a girls trip. So we brought her friend over that's going with her. We introduced her to home hemo. We gave her the basic training on it, of what to do if this happens. You know, Christina pretty much runs her treatment. And there might be a few things that she might need assistance with here and there, but other than if she's going to pass out or something, she does it. I'm just kind of back up and hit buttons.
How often are you doing it?
I do it 4 days a week, and we do 3 hours each treatment.
That's about what you do, isn't it?
I do 4 hours, but yeah, the same days. So you guys, while we're on this subject, Dawn Bates, we had her on last week.
Yes.
She actually, well, she didn't ask during the episode, but I talked to her on the phone like a couple days ago, and she had commented on one of your things on Facebook, and I think because there's so many, you can't possibly respond to all of them. So she had asked, and I said, I'll ask her. She wants to know what blood flow rate Christina runs at.
Go ahead.
You know it.
Well, since she has a central port, we start at 200 and we ramp up to 350.
Okay.
In June 10th, she goes in for her second fistula. Mm-hmm. She had a fistula beforehand and it was tied off because the doctor, they said if you're using a fistula and it's hard on your heart, so they tied it off. They attempted to untie it, and that's why she's had a central port so long. We have been deciding what we want to do. Mm-hmm. She doesn't want to give up another arm to a fistula. So we went to a specialist, and they are actually going to put it right above her original one, and then try to migrate it. And again, that's kind of the reason I started the site. Was there's so many people that are told, no, you can't do that.
Yep.
Right.
Well, go do it.
Mm-hmm. I pretty much met with like 5 different doctors around my area and asked them. I told them I don't want to use my left arm yet because I'm 40. I want to be able to save that for later in life. And every doctor I went to said, nope, we'd only put it in the left arm. And so I went down in Salt Lake and met with another doctor, and he finally was like, okay, we can make this happen. We can do it this way. And so I'm going to get the fistula in my right arm like I wanted because I need to save the other arm for later in life.
Well, there's also a lot of other things, like you got so used to, clothes and making sure that in certain, for certain occasions that part is covered. Then if you have to try to do like both, it's really, it's a frustrating thing that people just don't understand, because I get called like vain on all these other groups that hasn't happened on Living on Dialysis. But if I contribute to a conversation about like, when I was 22, the fistula really bothered me because I hated, in the summertime trying to wear tank tops and stuff. And I'm still that way. And people will be like, you're vain, it's your lifeline or whatever. But, don't, like, that's just how I feel.
That's just how I disagree with that. I do not think it's vain to not feel comfortable with that exposed.
I think for me, when it causes people to stare in a negative way, well, even I don't like to be stared at. And so when people do that, it makes me feel a little bit weaker. Like if I have to say, oh, this is because I'm on dialysis. I don't want certain people to know that, which is kind of contradictory because I'm doing this podcast. But
well, not everybody's medical diagnosis is literally worn on their sleeve.
Right. And so,
And that's the thing too is, and I actually just put a post on about this, where the public only sees what you want them to see.
True.
There was one picture in particular where I put, she was in the hospital, and at the same time, 12 hours later, we were out trick-or-treating, handing out candy, stuff like that, because that's what you do. You have to still do your life.
Absolutely.
Yet 12 hours before that, she's in the hospital thinking she's going to die. And they don't see that. They see, me coming into work tired or late, and it's like, well, how bad can she be? You just showed a picture of her dressed up in a costume. Okay, yeah.
Exactly. So I think
people don't understand unless they are going through it or know someone that goes through it, because.
But then we do it. Christina, you're the same way. We kind of do that to ourselves. Like I feel like at work and places like that, people expect the same from me as everybody else because I don't want to be treated differently. I can still do things. It might be different, but, and I can't do the things I used to do at work or whatever. But then sometimes I do get frustrated because when people are expecting, certain things or more of me, I'm like, it's like they forgot my kidneys don't work. Like I have organs in my body that do not work.
People get used to you being able to
do everything. Exactly. So I totally get that.
Yeah. I think on a daily basis, we overcompensate. We oversell, hey, I'm healthy, I can do this.
Yep.
Because we don't want that image of, oh, I'm just this sick person who can't get out of bed and can't do, anything. You're going to have to do everything for me. We don't want that. So on those days when we absolutely are toast, people aren't used to that.
Right. And we're not used to it. We're like, oh, what's wrong? Like, you got to figure out, you know, oh, it's because I did this, or, you know, next time I won't do this. And it's a balancing act. It's just, you know, after I had my parathyroid glands and part of my thyroid removed, a couple months ago, end of February, I started to all of a sudden have this energy, and I got scared, like, that I'm going to jinx it, or it's going to get taken away again, or, you know, like, I was just like, oh, I have this energy, so yay, but like, I'm so afraid I'm going to go back to when I didn't.
Are you still feeling like you have that same level of energy?
Yeah, because I'm walking every day again, and I'm like, I was struggling to even just go on a walk, you know, before that.
My boyfriend would be so upset with me if I did not mention the dialysis advent calendar that you guys do, because he loves that. He thinks that is just the sweetest thing. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I definitely saw it when they did it for Christmas. Well, when Michael was doing that for her.
That is just the sweetest thing.
He used the PD supply boxes and wrapped those up.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So that was really cool.
That is pretty cool.
See, Sean, I thought was a very thoughtful boyfriend, but Michael has shown him.
Oh, yeah, I can't stop that. We need to make her forget that.
But he wanted to make sure that yeah, I think that's what it was. Like, I think you went up to my boyfriend.
Oh, totally.
Like that.
Totally.
But
yeah.
that's just,
we heard that quite a bit.
She had a really bad year.
Oh.
And that was one of the reasons I did it and I had to tell her, you've got to quit getting so sick, because I'm running out of gifts to give you. And I'm like, here's your birthday present for next year. Here's this. And it just kind of worked out where she loves snow gloves.
Yeah.
And I just bought them throughout the year, and I decided,
oh, that's sweet.
Boxes, why not?
Yeah, that's cool.
That is
good
very
way to reuse the boxes. But yeah, I mean, I think she's just, if she's anything like me, she's just grateful that you're there and doing all that you do for her. So I think she would be fine without all the gifts.
I would, but they don't hurt.
Yeah, true. Well, I did want to say though that your Facebook group is just blowing crazy. Like, that is so awesome. I'm so happy for you guys with that.
We are running out of time, but I definitely want to mention. Make sure to put, because I know you've got the little QR scan code now. We'll make sure to put that up on all of our social media stuff.
Yeah.
But the Living on Dialysis page is it's my favorite. I mentioned it before we got into this interview, but I was like, it's actually my favorite.
It's my favorite too. Yeah.
To look at everybody.
It's crazy, because it went from this little idea of, why can't I find answers to stuff? So I started my own, and then we just kind of came up with a name, and it just built and built and built, and within a month it was 2,000, 3,000.
That's crazy.
And at the beginning there was like lots of arguing of, is this site really going to take off like it is? And till finally it was, this is exactly what everybody needs. And everybody participates. I used to be the main active role in it. Now I just go in and read it like everybody else. You know?
Well, we definitely
it's awesome.
Appreciate you.
We
being on today.
When I was 22 going through this, which I'm sure you can understand, you feel so alone, and you don't realize that there are people in your exact situation that are going through the same things, and having just that support, it changes everything.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Well, we would love
Living on Dialysis.
We would love
go
to
check them out.
Thank you so much. Check out Living on Dialysis. Thank you guys so much for being with us today.
You're awesome.
Thank you.
We appreciate you guys. Thanks.
Not a problem. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Well, thank you to Michael and Christina Gilchrist. That was awesome getting to talk to them. They're awesome people.
Loved it.
That is relationship goals right there.
I know. I said that about Dawn and Jimmy too, but them too.
They're pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's like we've had this couple teamwork theme going on.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes, that's awesome. That's good vibes. So make sure you visit them on and join their Facebook group, Living on Dialysis, and it's really probably the best.
Yeah, if you
want
to,
the other ones aren't good. But
if you want to meet like-minded people and people who are going through this stuff, and even if you aren't going through it but you're just interested in it, I mean, you can definitely join.
I'm on there, and I'm not going through dialysis.
Yeah, but you know someone who is. So, I mean, most people who join it are probably going to know someone who is, because that's why they have the interest in it. So it's just a really good place. It's almost like a modern day meetup, because we're not meeting in person, but I'm really happy that
from all over the world.
Yes, I'm really happy
global.
It's taken over, or
it's super global.
Taken off.
It has taken off.
It's taken over.
You said it's like getting like 5 people a day or something.
Yeah,
like that,
it's getting all kinds of people every day, and I was going to ask him where does he find all these people, but I think it's just kind of a chain reaction.
Yeah, so like someone will say, "Oh, I saw this," or you know, it works. You know, word of mouth spreads pretty quickly once things get going. So it's a pretty good group to be a part of, for sure. So, of course, again, like and subscribe to this YouTube channel.
Yes.
And follow us on all our social medias, which we are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And, of course, we are self-funded, so we have a Patreon, and that will be linked below. And, of course, we'd like to say thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
And
share your spare.
Thank you.
Thanks.